Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ritesh Prabhu. Leading the chanting. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Dandat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Let's start with Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanathmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminate Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatade जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. People, anybody would like to sing a prayer of the week? First 10 verses of Vachakovintam Stotram by Sripad Adi Shankaracharya. Sharing the screen now. Yes, anybody would like to sing?
Can I try, Prabhuji? It's little difficult, but I'll try.
Yes, Mataji, sure, please.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranams, Prabhuji. भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि नहि रक्षति डुङ्क्रं करणे मूढजहीः धनागमतृष्णं कुरु सद्बुद्धिं मनसि वितृष्णं यल्लभसे निज कर्मोपातं वित्तं तेन विनोदय चित्तं नारि नारिस्तनाभरणाभिदेशं दृष्ट्वा माग मोहवेशम् एतनमां सवसादिविकारं मनसि विचिन्तय वारं वारम् यावद्वीतोपजानस यावद्वीतो
Mataji, we missed the number 4 one.
Oh, sorry,
Nalini.
yeah. नलिनिधलाघट जलमतितरालं तद्वज्वीतमतिशयचपलं विधिव्याध्याभिमनग्रस्तं लोकं शोकहतं च समस्तं यावद्वीतोपार्जनशक्तः स्थावनिजपरिवारो रक्तः पश्चाज्जैवति जठरदेहे वातां कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेहे यावत् पावनो निवसति देहे तावत् पृच्छति कुशलं गेहे गतवति वायु देहे पाये भार्याभिप्यति तस्मिन् काये बालस्तावत् क्रीडासक्तः तरुणास्तावत् तरुणीशक्तः वृद्धस्तावत् चिन्तासक्तः परे ब्रह्मणि कोऽपि न शक्तः काटे कान्तकष्टे पुत्र संसारोऽयमतीव विचित्र कस्यात्वं कः कूट अयात तत्त्वं चिन्तय तदहि भ्रात सत्सङ्गत्वे निस्सङ्गत्वं निस्सङ्गत्वे निर्मोहतत्वं निर्मोहत्वे निश्चलतत्वं निश्चलतत्वे जीवन्मुक्तिः वायसी गते कः कामविकारः शुष्के नीरकः कासरा क्षीणे वित्ते का परिवारः ज्ञाते तत्त्वे कः संसारः भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Thank you, Prabhuji. Please forgive me. I have made some mistakes here.
No, no, Mataji, thank you so much. Your singing reminded of MS Subbulakshmi.
So she sings so beautifully.
Hare Krishna. We
Thank
would wake up in the morning in Chennai and listening
Yes, to
to
listen. Yes, Prabhuji.
all temples in Chennai, all temples everywhere. And
Suprabhatam and this one, Prabhuji, both.
mm, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Okay, there's also purport by Srila Prabhupada on this. So we can read from this today instead of the translation. Anybody would like to read?
I only can read, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please go ahead, Mataji. Yeah, from Sripad
Once.
Sankaracharya.
Yeah. Sripad Shankaracharya stressed worshipping Lord Krishna or Govinda 3 times in this verse and especially warned his followers that they could not possibly achieve deliverance or mukti simply by word jugglery and grammatical puzzles. The current Brahma Sampradaya is known as the Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Even though Lord Shiva appeared to preach Mayavada philosophy at the end of his pastime in the form of Shankaracharya, he preached the Vaishnava philosophy, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Mudamate. He stressed worshipping Lord Krishna or Govinda 3 times in this verse and especially warned his followers that they could not possibly achieve deliverance or mukti simply by word jugglery and grammatical puzzles. If one is actually serious to attain mukti, he must worship Lord Krishna. That is Sri Pada Shankaracharya's last instruction. My dear foolish brothers, you kindly worship Krishna, Govinda. Thrice he has said, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Mudhamate. Mudhamate means you foolish nonsense. You kindly worship Govinda. Why now prapte sannihite kale marane? When death will be nearer, your this grammatical interpretation. Dunkrum karane, this formula, that formula, arguing, jugglery of words, will not save you, will not save you. You please worship Govinda. That is his instruction, and there are many others. Sripada Shankaracharya was an impersonalist from the materialistic point of view, but he never denied the spiritual form known as Satchit Ananda Vigraha or the eternal all blissful form of knowledge that existed before the material creation. When he spoke of Supreme Brahman as impersonal, he meant that the Lord Satchit Ananda form was not to be confused with the material conception of personality. In the very beginning of his commentary on the Gita, he maintains that Narayana, the Supreme Lord, is transcendental to the material creation. The Lord existed before the creation as the transcendental personality, and he has nothing to do with material personality. Lord Krishna is the same supreme personality, and he has no connection with the material body. He descends in his spiritual eternal form, but foolish people mistake his mistake, his body to be ours. Shankara's preaching of impersonalism is especially meant for teaching foolish persons who consider Krishna to be an ordinary man composed of matter. Should I read Prabhuji? This one also.
Yes, Mataji. I think this is
So
last
there is
paragraph.
a So there is a very famous prayer made by Shankaracharya has made many prayers about Krishna, especially about his Vrindavana Leela. He has worshipped Krishna in many ways, and at last, this is his last composition of poetry. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Mudamate. You fools, you Mudamate. Mudha means Mudha Mate means you fools. He was addressing the whole world. You fools, Bhajagovindam, just become devotee of Krishna. Just become Krishna conscious. Prapte sannihite kale marane nahi rakshati dunkrung karane. You are philosophizing. You are talking on grammar and this way and that way because these people they want to establish impersonalism from Bhagavad Gita by strength of grammar. Such a nonsense they are. They want to understand God by through grammar. God is so cheap that he can be understood through grammar. Therefore, especially he specified Prapte Sannihite Kale Marane. When death will catch you, your grammar Dunkrum Karane. This will not save you, you fools. You please become Krishna conscious. Krishna conscious. That was the instruction of Shankaracharya, and he has especially mentioned Bhagavad Gita and Ganges water. He especially mentions a little quantity of Ganges water and a little study of Bhagavad Gita will save you from many dangerous positions. Lecture in New York, December 26, 1966. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
This was
Krishna.
just before what we are reading right now in 1966, Prabhupada, and he was in New York. I think he gave this as part of a bigger lecture in Chaitanya Charitamrita, but yeah, he was mentioning this. Very well. Yes, just like yesterday, we were reading from Prabhupada Lilamrita, when he comes across some nice verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, he calls his disciples to, to let them hear. So like that, today, he's telling us to hear about what Adi Shankaracharya has to say about Sri Krishna and about his own impersonalist philosophy, that people who are focused just on grammar and trying to concoct an impersonal form of the Lord. So that is a strong message to everybody to lovingly devote themselves to loving devotional service towards the Lord, towards the personal form of Lord, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, Govinda himself. Okay, so let's continue from chapter 26, Prabhupada Lilamrit. Yes, anybody would like to read today? Not, I'll continue then. Okay. All right, so Sri Prabhupada told Kirtanananda he had definitely decided to go to India via New York as soon as possible. Kirtanananda packed Swamiji's things and drove Swamiji down to San Francisco to spend the night at the temple. They would leave the next morning. The temple and even Prabhupada's apartment were very hectic that night, with many devotees and guests wanting to see Prabhupada and dozens of people wanting initiation. When Kirtanananda advised Prabhupada not to exert himself by going down for the evening program, Prabhupada insisted on at least going and sitting during the kirtan. When he entered the storefront, the devotees immediately stopped their kirtan, dropping down to offer obeisances. There was a hush. He commanded a new reverence. This might be the last time they would see him. They watched him during the kirtan as he played his kartals, singing with them for the last time. The uninitiated wanted to accept him as their spiritual master. Tonight, before it was too late, Srila Prabhupada asked for the microphone. No one had expected him to speak. Kirtanananda, the only person in a position to restrain him, said nothing and sat before him like the others, submissive and expectant. Prabhupada spoke quietly about his mission. Under the order of his spiritual master, he was bringing Lord Chaitanya's movement to America, and Krishna had kindly sent him so many sincere souls. I have a few children in India from my family days, he said, but you are my real children. Now I am going to India for a little while. Everyone fixed his attention on Swamiji as he sat before them, leaning against the madras-covered wall, speaking softly. Suddenly the door opened, and Ravindra Swarupa unhappily entered. Everyone knew that Ravindra Swarupa wanted to leave Krishna consciousness. He hadn't taken his initiation vows seriously. He wanted to move on. He didn't want a spiritual master anymore. The other devotees had discouraged him, but he had persisted. They were incredulous. How could he do such a thing on the night before Swamiji's departure? Ravindra Swarupa fell to the floor to offer obeisances, but he didn't rise up. Instead, he began crawling on his hands and knees towards Prabhupada. Ravindra usually had a cavalier manner, enhanced by a handsome face, long, tousled hair, and a beard. That now he was wretched and sobbing and crazy. He crawled towards Prabhupada, who sat but 2 steps off the floor on the simple redwood dais. Prabhupada looked at him with compassion. Come here, my boy. Ravindra crawled up the steps and placed his bushy head on Prabhupada's lap. Moved, the devotees watched as Prabhupada stroked Ravindra's head, and the boy cried and cried. What's wrong, my son? You don't have to be so unhappy. Ravindra bawled out. I want, he sobbed, to reach God directly, without anyone in between. Prabhupada continued to pat and stroke the boy's head. No, you continue to stay with us if possible. Don't be a crazy fellow. Ravindra's weeping subsided, and Prabhupada continued speaking both to Ravindra and to the emotion struck group in the room. I am an old man, he said. I may die at any moment. But please, you all carry on the Sankirtan movement. You have to become humble and tolerant. As Lord Chaitanya says, be as humble as a blade of grass and more tolerant than a tree. You must have enthusiasm and patience to push on this Krishna conscious philosophy. Suddenly, Ravindra's tears were gone. He jumped up, dejectedly stood, hesitating for a moment, and then hurried out the door, banging it behind him. Ravindra Swarupa's dramatic exit from Krishna consciousness shocked the devotees. Prabhupada sat still and continued speaking to them gravely, asking them to stick together and push on the movement for their own benefit and for others. Whatever they had learned, he said, they should repeat. They realized, perhaps for the first time, that they were part of a preaching mission, a movement. They were together not just for good times and good vibrations. They had a loving obligation to Swamiji and Krishna. Prabhupada returned to his apartment, which soon became chaotic. It was late. Many people wanted initiation. Mukunda, Jayananda, and other temple leaders tried to determine which candidates were sincere. They selected candidates, half a dozen at a time, and allowed them into Prabhupada's room. Prabhupada sat behind his little desk, chanted on each person's beads, and returned them, giving each person a spiritual name. Ketanananda requested him to stop. Further initiations could be done through the mail, but Prabhupada said he would continue initiating whoever was present. Mukunda and Jayananda set priorities. Some persons had been waiting months to be initiated and were obviously sincere. Others would have to be turned away. John Carter. At the end of the lecture, I was sure that I wanted to be initiated. And even though there was some talk of being initiated by mail, I knew I wanted to have that personal connection with my spiritual master and be personally initiated by him, personally accepted. I ran up to Mukunda and said, How many are on the list? I would like to get on the list. He said, Well, Swamiji isn't really taking them in any particular order. We are just going to try to pick out the most sincere people. Please put my name on the list, I said. I'm really sincere. I really want to get initiated. So he put me down and took the list up to Swamiji, and Swamiji began calling for people one by one. After the third person, when my name wasn't called, I became a little worried. Then, after the fourth person, I was really sitting on edge. Then, when they called the fifth person and it wasn't me, I was totally destroyed. I felt, oh, he's going to India, and then he's going back to Krishna. I just lost my chance. This is it. There's no use in me living anymore. I was trying to make it to the coat rack and get my coat and get out before anybody could see me crying. I hadn't started crying, but I could tell it was coming. A couple of people patted me on the back and said, It's all right. He can write you a letter and tell you your name. All I could think was, yeah, the way he was talking tonight, it may never happen. I could barely stand up. I went outside and started walking across the parking lot toward Golden Gate Park. I was kind of heading towards the Golden Gate Bridge. I thought, I'll just jump off. I hadn't been there long enough to understand that if you commit suicide, you have to become a ghost. I just figured my life was useless. I got about halfway across the parking lot when the idea struck me. What if he decided to take one more and I was out here somewhere? The thought filled me with so much hope that I turned down and ran back to the temple. And just as I walked in the front of the temple, Janki ran down and said, He will take one more. And she grabbed somebody else and ran up the stairs. I felt my knees start to collapse and tears came just jutting out of my eyes. Harsharani was standing there and she grabbed me by the arm and said, Come with me. She raced up the stairs, pulling me to the top, and burst into Swamiji's room without even knocking. Swamiji looked up with amazement. She said, Swamiji, you have to initiate this boy. I was just bawling, and Swamiji began to laugh. He said, It's all right. Don't cry. Everything will be all right. He chanted on my beads and gave me the name Jivananda. The next morning, Prabhupada had to leave his affectionate followers. Several cars filled with devotees accompanying him to the San Francisco airport. Nandarani. Some were sincere and some were crying because it was appropriate to cry when the spiritual master leaves. Actually, none of us really knew much about what the spiritual master was. Janaki mischievously stole the ticket and passport from Prabhupada's hand. Now you can't go, she said. That's all right, he smiled. I already have my boarding ticket. I'm Indian. They will let me into my own country. Prabhupada turned to his adoring followers, gathered close around him at the boarding gate. Actually, I have only one desire, and whoever does this will please me very much. Now, I have a temple in New York, in Montreal, and a temple in San Francisco, but I do not have any temple in Los Angeles. He told them to remain in Krishna consciousness and also to preach and to please preach. They watched as he turned and walked through the gate, his cane in one hand, boarding pass in the other. In New York, there was hardly time for sadness. Srila Prabhupada telegraphed Sri Krishna Pandit that his arrival in Delhi would be on July 24th at 7:30 a.m. and that Sri Krishna Pandit should prepare Prabhupada's quarters at the Chippiwada temple. In the telegram, Prabhupada mentioned his intention to consult a physician in Delhi and then go to Vrindavan. He was anxious to return to Vrindavan. The day before his departure, Prabhupada wrote to Sumati Murarji. In reply to his last letter, she had agreed to provide free steamship passage to India for him, but not for his disciples. As I had arranged for your passage to America, she had written, I think it is my duty to see that you return back to India safely, more so due to your indifferent health. But she would not allow free passage for any disciples. On July 20, Prabhupada wrote, I am feeling too much to return to Vrindavan, to the lotus feet of Vrindavan Bihari, Lord Krishna, and therefore I have decided to return to India immediately. I would have liked to return via sea, as you have so kindly offered me passage in your letter, but in my precarious state of health, that is not possible. So, by the mercy of Krishna and through one friend here, somehow or other, I have received air passage, and I am expecting to leave here for New Delhi on Saturday next, reaching the Palam airport on the 24th instant at 7:30 a.m. From there, I shall proceed to Vrindavan after a few days' rest in Delhi. I can understand that at present you cannot allow free passage to my disciples, but if you don't do so, at least in the near future, then my mission will be half finished or failure. I'm just enclosing one letter of appreciation for one of my principal students, Bruce Scharf, from Professor Davis Heron, and another from Professor Roberts of New York University. I think these letters will convince you how much my movement of Krishna consciousness is taking ground in the Western world. The holy name of Hare Krishna is now being chanted not only in this country, but also in England, Holland, and Mexico that I know of. It may be even more widespread. I have sent you one gramophone record, which I hope you may have received by this time. You will enjoy to learn how Krishna's holy name is being appreciated by the Western world. Achyutananda told Prabhupada he wanted to go to India to study intensively, gather experiences, and become attached to Krishna. He had heard Prabhupada say that one could become Krishna conscious in 2 days in Vrindavan than in 10 years in America. Do you think I'll be able to go? Achyutananda asked. Rest assured, Prabhupada told him. We will meet again in Vraja. Devotees had been asking Satsvarupa to transfer his civil service job to Boston and open a Krishna conscious center there. They had also asked Rupanuga to do the same in Buffalo. Satsvarupa and Rupanuga approached Prabhupada to find out what he wanted. He became very pleased. Subala was going to open a center in Santa Fe, he said, and Dayananda was going to Los Angeles. Hare Krishna mantra is like a big cannon, he told them. Go and sound this cannon so everyone can hear it, and it will drive away Maya. The devotees wanted to ask, but what if you don't return? They were fearful. What if Krishna kept Swamiji in Vrindavan? What if Swamiji never returned? How could they survive against Maya? But Swamiji had already assured them that whatever Krishna consciousness he had given them would be enough, even if he never returned. Just 30 minutes before he had to leave for the airport, Prabhupada sat in his room chanting on the beads of a girl who had asked to be initiated. Then, as he had done many times before, he left his apartment, went downstairs, crossed the courtyard, and entered the storefront. Sitting on the old carpet, he spoke quietly and personally. I may be going, but Guru Maharaj and Bhaktivinoda are here. He looked towards the painting of a spiritual master and Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I have asked them to kindly take care of all of you, my spiritual children. The grandfather always takes care of the children much better than the father. So do not fear. There is no question of separation. The sound vibration fixes us up together, even though the material body may not be there. What do we care for this material body? Just go on chanting Hare Krishna and we'll be packed up together. You will be chanting here and I will be chanting there, and this vibration will circulate around this planet. Several devotees rode with Prabhupada in the taxi, Brahmananda in the front with the driver, Rai Ram and Kirtananda in the back beside their spiritual master. When Kirtananda sees Vrindavan, Prabhupada said, he will not be able to understand how I could have left that place and come to this place. It is so nice. There are no motor cars like there like here, rushing whoosh whoosh and smelling. Only there is Hare Krishna. Everybody always chanting. Thousands and thousands of temples. I will show you, Kirtanananda. We will walk all about there and I will show you. Ramananda began to cry and Prabhupada patted him on the back. I can understand that you are feeling separation, he said. I am feeling for my Guru Maharaj. I think this is what Krishna desires. You may be coming there to me and be training up, and we will spread this movement all over the world. Rai Ram, you will go to England. Ramananda, you want to go to Japan or Russia? That's all right. The devotees converged on the Air India waiting room near a crowded cocktail lounge. Wearing a sweater, his chadar folded neatly over one shoulder, Prabhupada sat in a chair. His disciples sat as closely as possible around his feet. He held an umbrella just as when he had first come alone to New York almost 2 years ago. Although exhausted, he was smiling. Prabhupada noted a mural of Indian women carrying large jars on their heads, and he called the name of a young girl who had recently gone with her husband, Hamsaduta, to join the ISKCON Center in Montreal. Himavati, would you like to go to India and learn to carry this water pot like the Indian women? Yes, yes, she said. I will go. Yes, Srila Prabhupada said, someday we will all go. Kirtananda was carrying a portable battery-operated phonograph and 2 copies of the Hare Krishna mantra record. Kirtananda, Prabhupada asked, why not play the record? They will enjoy. Kirtananda played the record very softly, its sound catching the attention of people in the cocktail lounge. Make it a little louder, Prabhupada asked, and Kirtananda increased the volume. Prabhupada began nodding his head, keeping time. Soon the devotees began humming along with the record and then quietly singing until gradually they were singing loudly. Kirtanananda, Brahmananda, and other devotees began to cry. Hamsaduta, I was sitting right next to Swamiji, and all the time I was thinking, oh, my spiritual master is going to India, and he said, I want to die in Vrindavan. We all knew Swamiji was going, but now it was the last moment. I was also seeing that I hadn't done anything for my spiritual master. He doesn't even know who I am. I thought, there's no relationship. I must do something. I must do something now. I must serve him in some way which will establish some place in his heart. Something, I was thinking. What can I do? I was crying, and he didn't even look at me. It was like I wasn't even there, just like a chair or something. He was just always looking around and everything, and I was trying to catch his eye. If all of a sudden he would say something. The kirtan was getting heavier and heavier, and so was the crying. And the people in the waiting room were just looking at Swamiji like he was someone very special. And in the middle of it all, Swamiji was completely relaxed, as if this were his place, and this was just a normal thing to do. When the record ended, Hamsadutta asked Swamiji, can I take a collection? Prabhupada nodded. Hamsadutta stood and made a little speech. Our mission is to spread Krishna consciousness. We have a temple in New York. We are always badly in need of money. Please help us. Borrowing a hat from a soldier, Hamsadutta went around taking a collection. Our traveling is very auspiciously beginning, Prabhupada said. We had a nice kirtan and we had a nice collection. It is all Krishna's mercy. Then it was time to board the plane. Prabhupada embraced each of his men. They stood in a line, and one after another approached him and embraced him. He patted a few of the women on the head. Okay, so I think pause here. Hey Krishna. Yes, anybody would like to share any
I
reflection?
feel like you should be continuing reading Prabhuji. It is so interesting and so touching. Oh my God.
Yeah, this is like this feels like our theme of union and separation, union and separation. I don't know how many lifetimes, you know, all of us, all the like Prabhupada's talking like so nicely as talk to his spiritual children. Similarly, Lord Krishna is there looking at all of us as his children, and we have been away from the Lord for so many millions and millions of lifetimes, and he's waiting for that moment of union again. But yeah, for pure devotees, again, like Prabhupada, like he says, he's feeling separation from his spiritual master. Yeah, so this is kind of I was just feeling like this is kind of the theme, but like Prabhupada says many times, the love that you have in separation is actually even more than the love in union. And actually, the love in union increases because of the love in separation. So, yeah, it's so nice to see all his initial disciples so touched and so moved by their spiritual master, and they're almost like small children. They're becoming emotional. They're crying genuinely out of pure love in their heart for their Guru Maharaj, for Swamiji, for the Swamiji. That they don't know, right? I mean, like, yeah, if you think of ourselves in that time, yeah, we don't know. Nowadays we at least have everything: technology, internet, social media, WhatsApp, to stay in touch. In those days, 1967, yeah, there's nothing to even contact, just mails. I don't even know whether Prabhupada will come back. How much of a deep longing they may have had in their heart towards Srila Prabhupada, that they don't know whether he will even come back, right? At that time, yeah, it's like when somebody so close to you goes over, like when people from India used to come here, you had no clue what they were doing. So, but yeah, Prabhupada says so nicely that, whatever he has taught them in this 1 year, that is sufficient. And he has given them the books, he has given them the literatures and the kirtan, and he is telling them that is sufficient, and they should just repeat what they have heard and what they have learned. So that is the potency of the Mahamantra and the potency of Lord's instructions and Guru Parampara's instructions. Yeah, and but he has a vision. He is still thinking that, yeah, he'll go and open this American house, and at least he's assuring all of them. So again, if he has said that, then the words Krishna will always make it come true. That he said, we will all meet in Braja, right? So once Prabhupada said that, then, of course, Krishna will make sure that that happens, whether it happens in the Vrindavan here, in Vrindavan, or in Golok Vrindavan. And it may be in both, actually, because when Prabhupada says Braja is both here, and Braja is there in Golok Vrindavan. So his words will come true. We just have to be sincere and follow his instructions. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji. Anything else? Or anybody else would like to share anything from today's reading?
Hare Krishna. You kind of briefly summarized everything very well. I just wanted to add another point was Prabhupada said to his disciples, who were very affectionate, very loving, like small children, they were crying that I would chant here and I would chant there and you chant here, and then we will be connected, and it will spread everywhere. So the power of holy name was again emphasized by Prabhupada in every part, every stage of his while he was about to go, like when he was there in San Francisco, then New York, and then again at airport. His boldness that he started the kirtan there, and then it again he was saying it was such an auspicious sign that there was kirtan and collection. So yeah, it was kind of very beautiful. He also, in the beginning of our reading today, told about humility and tolerance. And when the disciple who kind of thought he would leave Krishna consciousness, and he just out of nowhere he stood up and then paid his obeisances in a crazy manner and went away. Prabhupada tolerated that. So a lot of beautiful moments to learn and apply in our daily lives. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Yeah. Temporarily, if somebody even goes away, Prabhupada says, of course, they've taken shelter, so hopefully they're protected for eternity. But yes, like we were saying, we are the ones who turn away from the Lord, turn away from the Guru. But the Lord and Guru, they never forget us. They never turn away from us. So they're just waiting for that moment when we will again turn back towards them. And that moment will come, once we realize that there's nothing in this world that we can get happiness from. So, yeah, like Prabhupada said, sometimes it's also fascinating. Like, yeah, he was initiating so many disciples at the very end, even though he had not really met them and been with them for a long time. But he was so, again, out of his compassion and mercy, he was initiating all of them with, of course, with single-minded determination that he will take all of them back home, back to Godhead, right? So he has decided, then it will happen. But yeah, we also have to do our duty and follow his instructions. But yeah, like Prabhupada also told sometimes earlier, like, don't be surprised by how many leave, but be surprised by how many stay. Right? So of course this is a long journey of many lifetimes. And that's why they say at the time of initiation, we are very fortunate. It's because not just this life that we have chanted for 1 year or 2 years or 5 years that we are getting initiation, but this is something that we have been doing for many lifetimes, and after many lifetimes of wandering around, finally we have taken shelter of Guru. So so it's very auspicious, like you said, and it is part of our free will to follow the instructions. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes, anybody else would like to share anything? Alrighty, if not, then maybe we'll pause here. Thank you so much for your kind association, as always. And joining hands together, like Prabhupada wanted his disciples to stay together, chant together, and progress together, and reach back home, back to Godhead by his mercy. So thank you all for taking the time every morning to be part of this process that Prabhupada has given us of chanting the holy names in the company of devotees and progressing back home, back to Godhead, hopefully in this lifetime. Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll end with Vaishnava Pranam prayers. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you all.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Have a great day, everyone.